coming to you live from wherever. It's the Ticket Booth Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to God damn it, boy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of the Ticket Booth Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Bevington. I am not famous, but I think I am. Who are you guys?
I am Jack. I do not have my magical Paw Patrol recorder here today.
So essentially, just turn off the video. It doesn't matter. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, just leave now. It's for the best of us.
Just kidding. I need the views. My wife took the kids again.
Okay, so I'm Ethan. I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for the last 10 years, I've been the one and only Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure you know the rest already.
Actually, we're all Spider
I'm
people.
Ethan, and I'm 14, slaying all these women with my massive peen. I got a couple of hobbies besides being blonde, like perform with the world.
We're all Spider people, by the way. I'm Peter Parker.
No, I'm the real Peter Parker.
No, I am. I'm Peter Parker because I'm
Just
blonde.
continue the introduction already.
Okay, who's next?
Let's get through this.
I just looked.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Mark.
Okay, my turn. Okay. I'm Mark, or Krimes, and I just watched the movie we're about to talk about while they were talking, and we were recording our first, shy of this podcast.
No, clearly we're not recording it a second time. No.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not.
We're not recording this.
Okay,
This is
George,
the first
it's real
recording,
time.
clearly.
George, you go next.
Okay, I'm George, and we're doing a second recording of this because my dumbass stopped recording on accident for the first time. So, if you want to lampoon me in the comment section, please do.
Please don't. Okay, for one thing, no one will know what you're talking about. Second off, this is just fourth wall break.
Okay, no.
So basically what you're saying is it's rewind time. If I would
It's rewind time.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
And I think
Yeah,
if I could have the Ticket Booth podcast, I would
Let
want
Matthew
Las
introduce
fucking
himself.
let me introduce myself.
Fortnite.
Okay. No, I just want to ask one question before Matthew introduces himself. Okay, just one quick question.
My name is Matthew, and I might as well plug my No Context Watch Mojo and No Context Jane and the Animation account on Twitter that you should go follow.
Don't follow them, they suck.
I had pretty high expectations going into this movie. I didn't know what to expect when I first heard about it. I was like, Spider-Man animated movie, that sounds badass. And then eventually, more trailers started coming out, more stuff started coming about. I knew fully what the plot was, and I was like, holy hell, I can't wait for this. Basically, I loved all the characters. The story was amazing. The animation is beautiful. For one thing, I loved every single one of the characters. I don't even have a least favorite. They're just all amazing. My favorite, probably a tie between Gwen or Penny or Spiderverse. Or Spider-Ham. I'm tired. Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Ham character. I loved the twists and turns of the story. I loved all the references to classic Spider-Man stuff. I loved the specific styles of animations, how it looks kind of like the comic, etc. I loved all the comedy in this movie. Didn't feel like typical kids movie comedy. Kubo. It felt like actual a lot of the jokes worked. The writing's really sharp. There's some cliches that kind of hold it down, but nothing that really ruined it. The ending is amazing. There's a lot of great emotional weight, and I wish I could see more of these characters, and I cannot wait for any spin-offs and sequels that are coming out. Please support this movie so we can get more of those. It already made its budget back and needs more. Not much more I can say. I don't think it's a complete masterpiece, but I do love it with all my heart, so that's close enough. And 8 out of 10 is high enough for me, so if you're one of the pagans who comments on my letterbox for you saying too low, go fuck yourself.
And if you are one of the and if you're the kind of person that does comment too high or too low, do us all a favor and just delete your letterboxd account. Just do us all a favor.
Just get off the internet and move out of the US.
Alright, so me being the big Spider-Man fan of the group because I've read the comics, I've seen all the movies, and yes, including those awful, amazing Spider-Man movies, and yes, saw Venom, saw that as well.
It's a good movie. Venom! Gotta go get him!
Venom's gonna fucking kiss you and roar you. Reading the comics, seeing the movies, and play the recent game, which was awesome. It's been a great year for... Yeah, the game was great.
Go play the game. That game is incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so fucking fun. And this was a great year for Spider-Man, but man, what a way to end the year for this webhead. It was an amazing movie. Of course, Brian Alden mentioned the points, the animation's spectacular, the characters are great. and the story is really intriguing. But what got to me was that the movie took some risk and turns, which I knew some of the things going in because reading the comics and Miles' origin, which no hold back on spoilers, but if you haven't seen the movie or haven't read the comics, Miles' uncle is actually one of the main villains in the movie, the Prowler.
I just want to say that I'm glad I'm not a hardcore weeb, so that way I didn't know anything. JK, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but I don't.
Don't you mean a hardcore web?
Yeah, but it was just everything a Spider-Man fan could want. I mean, I loved every single one of the animation. I loved the characters, but for me, it's just not your typical animated movie. And the one thing that I've been missing from a lot of superhero movies and big budget action movies, the fact that there's a sense of wonder, escapism, and just a lot of just amazing shit within it. Like, when's the last time you felt so much as exhilaration from a superhero movie? I mean, you could argue Infinity War, but it's more of this is more of a self-contained story that just has a lot of great story beats. And the fact that they got Bill Lord and Chris Miller on it, and them being huge Raimi fans, kind of put a smile on my joy. I mean, the opening montage is fantastic with all the Spider-Man references. They just weren't around. They just took so many things that wouldn't have worked in live action and made it work for animation. I mean, just there's so many animation styles, and just God, I love all the callbacks to the comics, and there's so much to love. I love Miles, and you can probably already tell me that I'm just losing my train of thoughts. It's just an amazing movie. If I had any complaints, is that Kingpin, his motivation could have honestly used a little tweaking.
Yeah,
the whole thing felt a little bit too far paced, and I think Miles' and his father's relationship could have been improved a little bit better. Like I mentioned, there's just not a whole lot to really, dislike about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you dislike it, I don't know. Or if you feel like it's just an okay film, then really, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you.
I just want to say, I know I already went, but there's something I forgot to mention. That one thing I love about this movie is how it's so different from your typical kids movie. Like, this isn't necessarily a kids movie. I mean, kids can definitely enjoy it, but it's more so a movie for everyone, the perfect kind of animated movie. So one thing I love about it, I loved all the animation styles and how they still fit together despite all being so different from each other.
Like, I was going to say, the fact that they're actually able to go to a lot of demographics that it doesn't seem pandering is pretty impressive.
And it's such a shame that there's still some idiots who thinks that all animation is for kids. Because this is a movie that cannot, and I mean cannot,
they killed some major characters. Like, they killed Chris Pine's Spider-Man, which was, I didn't expect he was going to be in there, because from the trailers they made it seem like there was going to be one Spider-Man.
I remember,
and of course, reading the Miles comics, I was like, okay, are they going to really do that? And I was not expecting him to die in that brutal fucking way. Like, Jesus Christ, he died.
Ethan, you're lucky I don't care about spoilers.
When Chris Pine and Spider-Man popped up, I was like, what the hell? Why does Jake Johnson's voice sound so weird?
And then he realizes, it's Chris Pine. And it's like,
I didn't even realize that until I heard about it later. I was like, what the hell? Why does Jake Johnson sound like he has, like, a nasal infection?
Dude, Chris Pine is great.
Dude, I love Chris Pine.
But there's just a lot to love about this movie, and it doesn't hold back. It can kill people and make the arcs seem well. Everyone had a clear and defined arc, and everyone at least got to learn something. And the fact of the matter is that there's no political background. There's nothing. It's a lesson, like, anybody can be Spider-Man. There's just a lot to take away that isn't political or emotionally motivated. And despite the fact director's Twitter was pretty political, there's no political messages on it. It's just a great all around. Yeah, there's some stuff. I won't go into it.
Yeah.
Overall, this was one of the best animated movies of this year, and probably one of the best animated movies of the decade.
Or ever.
Ever. Yeah, honestly, like, in the last 20 to 30 years, I can't think of a single animated movie that has made me this excited for a sequel. It just made me go wow and cry and laugh and cheer. And when Miles jumped on the building, I wanted to yell, "Go, Miles, go!"
Yes.
I wanted to yell that.
Like, yeah. I can't name, like, the amount of devotion I've had to, like, an animated franchise since Wreck-It Ralph for me. I went there.
I liked Into the Spider-Verse quite a bit. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as most people, but maybe I could enjoy it more on a rewatch. I honestly, this way, that could be a high possibility. But there's definitely so much that I can really appreciate about this film, even just technically. For one, the animation, like you said, is absolutely incredible. Like, it's a visual 10 out of 10, like, flat out. This is easily, like, one of the most technically impressive animated films, like, maybe ever. It's up there with stuff
ever.
Like...
Maybe ever.
Probably, yeah, definitely ever. But yeah, technically animated, it's a marvel. and not just because it's a Marvel comic. But like it's up there with stuff like Fantastic Mr. Fox or Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away, where the animation is it just takes place over a lot of the stuff for me. But even then, like, there's so much more that I really enjoyed. Like, the characters, of course, are all just so well fleshed out and interesting. I really like all the... There's not really a character I don't like. I really love even just the other Spider characters, like Penny Parker, she's great. Peter Porker, that's right? Spider-Ham.
Peter
Great,
Porker.
voiced by John Mulaney, he's wonderful. And my personal favorite, John Mulaney, whatever his name is.
I know.
You know who I'm talking about. The guy from Big Mouth guy.
Big Mouth is underrated.
And my personal favorite, Spider Noir, voiced by the one and only Nicolas Cage.
He's my dad.
He's my favorite character in the movie.
Follows, and the wind.
Sometimes I watch the match for down to the top. So
Wherever I go.
I'm both Superman and Spider-Man the same year. Eat it, every other superhero actor. I'm better than you.
I do legitimately want a spin-off Sin City-esque Spider Noir movie.
Yes!
Like, desperately. I
want
desperately
a
want it.
Spider Noir should be in Watchmen.
I want a
should be.
Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir buddy cop movie. That would
Hell
be
yeah!
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Dude, oh my god, I love that.
I'd watch
Even just a
that.
whole mini-series, that could work amazingly, especially the dynamic. But I even love the fact that they even make it so the animation style fits with their character. So Spider Noir is a graphic comic book novel, like you said, like Watchmen, and Spider-Ham is a Warner Brothers Roadrunner Looney Tunes style, and of course Penny Parker goes with the Japanese anime manga style. It's all just really impressive to watch.
Wait,
and the other thing I was going to mention. Sorry, I'll just get into this real quick. Something when I watch a lot of animated films, I can kind of tell with who's voicing who. But with this, a lot of the time I was watching them, just watching the characters. I completely forgot who was voicing who. Even the fact I went into the film knowing okay, so these people are in it, and then once I got out, I completely forgot that those people are in it because their voice matches their character design so well. I really enjoy Haley Steinfeld. Completely forgot that she was in it.
I love Haley Steinfeld.
I literally didn't find out until that Chris Pine voices the first Spider-Man until just a little bit ago. And Jake Johnson, who I really enjoy, I didn't realize that was him. Aside from Nicolas Cage, which it's kind of hard not to notice, but he's again, it fits so well with him. It's it just works. Overall, I think it's a really, really solid movie, and I'm glad that it's being successful because it's definitely got a lot that works to it. If there was anything about it that I didn't really enjoy, not that I'm saying it was bad or not, not really all that interesting.
Spoilers, by the way.
I think some of his relationships with his family and his uncle could have been explored just a little bit more. I think that was kind of more of the weaker elements to me, but overall, I think it definitely at least worked. I just feel like it could have had a bit more of an emotional push. And I don't really find the twist with his uncle all that compelling either. Not to say that I don't find it compelling at all. I just think they could have had more to it.
I love that twist. I don't care what you say.
Not to harp on anything, but as somebody who's read the Ultimate Comics and knowing Miles' overall origin, be glad the origin wasn't worse because, ooh boy, it gets really freaking boring in the comics. Not gonna lie. I know it's maybe unpopular, but Miles has been accused in the comics of being just a black Peter Parker and half Latino, half black Peter Parker, and he kind of is, if I'm being honest. So it's really a lot better in this movie.
So, Spiderverse. I saw the trailers rather, and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. I want to see this. And I was predicting a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. And then I walked into the movie. I mean, this is probably the most pure fun I've had in a movie, maybe since Mission Impossible Fallout. And this is the type of film where I get, I don't want to go on a rant, but a lot of people say oh, movies are meant to be fun. This is the type of film that's pure fun, but it's done right.
Yeah, here's the thing. I just think that saying a movie's fun doesn't indicate the quality. It's good for enjoying, but I mean, here's the thing. There's movies I have fun with that I'm never going to American movies. I have fun with the Trolls movie. You see, but am I ever going to admit that movie's a great film? No. There's other movies I can put in that caliber. There's other movies that I consider fun, but not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me,
Sure.
a movie that's both great and fun. The definition of that kind of movie is definitely Spider-Man.
Venom.
It's a movie that I both have fun with and has
Venom.
Jack.
Venom.
Venom. Gotta go get him.
Venom.
Jack, go to your
Okay. So here's my thing about Spider-Verse. I think it's probably the best. It's definitely the best superhero movie of 2018, without a doubt. I even think it's slightly better than Isle of Dogs, and I say slightly because
Isle of Dogs is my favorite superhero movie. Not kidding.
because there are a lot of things that Isle of Dogs does do better than Spider-Verse. Like the original score is a lot better. I would argue the animation itself is better in Isle of Dogs than Spider-Verse. And
Yeah, but the thing is, it's so different to it that I feel like
but Spider-Verse I think has better voice acting, and I think it has a better story.
Yeah, I can see to that.
I love all the characters in Spider-Verse. My favorite is probably a tie between Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man Noir. That's probably the tie. Spider-Ham is awesome, just objectively.
You got cartoons.
Yeah.
You gotta cry.
Did that feel like a cartoon?
I like Penny Parker as a character, not romantically, Ethan, so don't get any ideas. Not related to the movie, but if you're honestly gonna just keep going on like, oh, Sony Pictures Animation went from the emoji movie to Spider-Man, and you're gonna do that in 2018 going on 2019, please do us all a favor and deactivate your Twitter account. Because
also, I'm sorry, the Emoji Movie isn't even the worst animated movie of last year. That's the T.
Like, the Emoji Movie is bad, but I'm not gonna keep talking about it in 2018.
It's not even the worst animated movie of last year, or even the worst movie of last year, let alone the worst fucking movie ever made. So you people need to calm down.
It's Cannibal Holocaust. It's Cannibal Holocaust.
You people for real need to calm
Cannibal
down.
Holocaust is not that bad. Okay.
Holocaust is good.
Like, I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but I'm kind of considering changing my rating system because, to be honest, I do think that some of the cliches are really on the nose. And I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd because I basically just forgave it because the movie's so well done. But it makes me just kind of want to change my rating system a little bit.
The only real cliches I could think of are like the ones where Miles is in school.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
Yeah. Same thing here. But I gave it a 5. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd because it's just so well done that I can forgive it. And I think this is the best Spider-Man movie. It's even better than Spider-Man 2, which I was actually surprised by.
I'm surprised none of y'all have called out my rating.
What did you give it?
I gave
3.5.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a 7 out of 10. I actually liked it. It was pretty
Hey!
wasn't that bad.
Not even Mark can resist. Everyone go see this movie. It's Krimes approved.
It was pretty good, I think. For the most part, like, the only real complaint or issue that I had with it that was, like, fair is probably soundtrack, which I genuinely didn't care for.
What do you think?
I liked Black Panther's soundtrack more. I felt
That's
Okay.
disgusting.
Okay.
Mark, sorry to interrupt you, but since you're the second biggest Post Malone stan in this group, what do you think of Sunflower?
it was okay. I thought it's a bit overhyped. It's really overplayed. I like Post Malone, and for me it's still overplayed. But other than that,
Post Malone is my favorite rapper, if you guys don't know.
he is.
He's pretty great.
To say the animation is great is without, like, it's already been said. There's all the reviews, all the people, everybody who's talked about it on this podcast so far is delushed about the animation, and I'd say I'm in the same boat, but I wouldn't go to the extent of saying it's some of the best I've ever seen, because I've seen a lot that's kind of challenged the form itself. But
Can you give examples?
Okay, I think the most impressive animation I've seen, like, in recent years, without a doubt, has to be Tom Moore, I think it is, the person behind Song of the Sea and Secret of Kells.
Yeah.
That animation really...
Did you see The Breadwinner, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, too. I love the animation of that.
The Breadwinner is pretty good. Not gonna lie.
I haven't seen those movies, but the animation from them looks great from what I can tell.
So I actually liked Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I would not say it's one of the greatest things of all time. I feel like there's a lot of very interesting ways it deals with animation and its style, and how it dealt with, like, the differentiating characters and the differentiating styles, and how it all kind of collided in one picture. But, like, it felt like something you noticed, but it's not something jarring. Like, it's kind of like an Amazing World of Gumball type thing. I
Okay.
feel like
Oh my god, that's actually a really good comparison.
Yeah,
they
it is.
actually completely mastered it here, and they made it all completely coherent instead of just where it feels like, oh, that's a stop motion character. Oh, that's a clay motion. That's clay. That's like 2D. It all feels coherent in a way. And then for the story, it genuinely worked for the most part. I don't think there was anything that there wasn't really anything that bothered me. I'd say I just don't think it's great. I can't really say I didn't like it. I don't really see any real problems with it as of right now, which might just
You know,
be me
can
'cause
I interrupt for something? I love that,
Yeah.
like, when you can tell Krimes likes a movie when the best thing you can say about it is, like, there's not a lot that I hated about it.
It really isn't. I'm low on criticism here. Like, right now, I can't think of anything,
Well-
but give me, like, a day, and I'll, like, be posting, like, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse, 2.5 out of 5.
That's probably because it's like so hard to like really find anything like really bad about it because of the fact how it's just it's a good movie. I feel like there's really
Oh, and
nothing
fun fact,
more
they
you
just
can say.
posted a screenplay for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I just saw that and I saved it. It's like, yeah, I need to read it.
Yeah, I'm at loss for words of criticism. Good job, Lord and Chris Lord and Phil Miller, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
shit,
Lord, I
shit,
couldn't.
I forgot. Clone High. They put
Clone
Clone High reference in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
They made the Lego movie. They made the
Nice.
best movies.
They made Lego
Yeah.
Movie. They made Jump Streets. They made Cloud with the Chance of
They
Meatballs.
Clone High. They did Clone High.
Here's the thing. I fucking love Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They are like two of the best comedy writers we have working nowadays.
So, on to the next movie. So, this is a little film directed by a Nazi. Lars von Trier. It's a little
It's
place.
Lars von
It's a little.
Trier.
It's Lars von Trier. I don't care.
Lars von Trier.
Shut up, Ethan.
It's Lars von Trihard. I'm joking.
Lars
That was.
von
I'm joking. That was. I don't believe
Oh
that.
my god, that's good. That's correct.
So Lars von Trier made a house that I built. I'm getting hate messages about the house that I built, and I'd really like people to stop. It's not nice. You can say what you want about Lars, but
Stop giving him
Maybe-
hate messages, or he'll kill you.
When I think about all the things I've done in my life without in any way resulting in punishment.
Maybe that's it. You shouldn't have built your house out of people, Jack. Maybe that's the.
that's yeah. Maybe, I mean, it doesn't really keep the rainwater
Jack,
out.
maybe you
It's
shouldn't
not-
have killed
It
people.
does, the thing is, it's not a very smart thing to make houses out of living people, but or dead people. But whatever floats your boat. Sometimes you just got to use what you can use, and maybe that's by using the mother from the Fred movies. Maybe that's by killing.
I forgot she was in it.
from Kill Bill. Maybe that's who else was in this movie that Jack killed?
Maybe.
Well,
Fred's mom.
Riley Keough.
Yeah, I said Fred's mom.
So,
the house that Jack built.
yeah,
by Lars von Trier.
Okay,
Let's
who's going
talk
first?
about
Can
it.
I go first? Because I've lots to say.
No, let's all get.
Crimes is going first. Like
Okay.
you said, he can go first.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay, Mark Glow.
Okay.
I'm desperate to hear his thoughts. Go ahead.
Okay, so.
Justified duck killing.
Bet. Okay, my name is Krimes, and I'm gonna say this. I actually loved the house that Jack built.
Ew, get out of
You're
here.
welcome.
No, I'm kidding.
You're
I'm kidding. I'm
welcome.
kidding.
Let that simmer into the.
Let him.
Explain. I'm gonna explain and actually argue as to why I think it's a great movie.
Go ahead. I want to hear your
Let him explain.
I'm just gonna give my general thoughts, and then I'll get to it as we begin the debate. I'm gonna say that from a direction standpoint, it's fantastic. As much as people have argued that Lars von Trier's style is continuously decreased as the years have gone on, which I have been willing to say. I feel like the House of Jack built it's a good example of what he's been trying to do, with Nymphomaniac, except kind of mastered. To see the House that Jack built, it's more of a myth of Lars von Trier as a filmmaker and as a person. That's kind of what the film is. It's basically Jack being the self-insert for Von Trier himself and his murders being his films. And there's, like, obviously, it even makes the connections of, oh, these are my films. Like, he puts them into the film, which I know a lot of people complained about. That was probably the worst part of the film for me as well.
I agree. That's, like, the part where I'm, like, the most just like, yeah, come on, really?
Stop. Yeah,
I revolutionized violence.
Like, that's
film.
just, like, for me, it's like where you're just kind of going a little too far up your own
Wait,
ass.
isn't
It's like,
wait? You're telling me that isn't the whole movie? What are you talking about?
Did you guys know that no one did violence in films before Von Trier came into the scene?
There is that, and I think that's genuinely stupid, but I think, in a way, he kind of revisioned how violence is kind of seen. I'm not trying to sound like, oh, he recreated gore, but more or less, there was a time before Von Trier's films kind of got, like, booed or, like, attacked at Cannes for being, like, so violent and graphic, and before
and just out of question, which period of time was this? Was this, like, 2000s or 90s, or, like, Antichrist time?
Pre-Antichrist, because I think that's
Okay.
when he was really getting into the more grotesque parts of his career. Like, pre-Antichrist, you didn't really hear a lot of, like, oh, this movie is outrageous, it's full, it's anti-Semitic, it's boundary breaking or pushing the limits of what you can do. You didn't really hear a lot of that.
Was this before or after he slaughtered Donkey from Mandalay?
God damn it. God damn it.
You're losing me. Get your point across.
My point across is that I think, as a whole, the film works as a self-criticism as well. As much as y'all want to, like, kind of point to take the point to figure out, oh, this is just him jerking himself off, there is aspects of that, but there is also a heavy tone of self-criticism within the film. That, like, as Jack is being criticized by the man who is helping him on the journey, he also criticizing, or he's taking an outside look onto what he does. Jack's own pretentiousness and kind of understanding of art is literally Von Trier trying to justify his own pieces of art, but then also having a character who contradicts everything that he says and basically tells him that you're wrong throughout the entire film. Kind of has that. And while I've heard the dialogue is tedious and it's so reoccurring, but I feel like to a degree it does recontextualize itself every other, like, time it's brought up. Like when he goes on his tangents about art and life and death and violence. I feel it's always challenged or recreated in a new, interesting way that kind of brings a perspective idea of, like, what Von Trier is trying to go for.
Even if you don't like the movie, I think we can all agree on one thing. Matt Dillon is goddamn horrifying in this movie.
I agree. I completely agree. For sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
Oh, without question.
He's horrifying.
He's awesome.
It's legitimately one of the scariest performances I've ever seen in a movie. It's like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
terrifying.
It was great.
He's terrifying.
Okay, I don't know
He's
about
horrifying.
that, but
If I had to pick, like, my nominee for Best Actor in the Academy Awards, it would be Matt Dillon.
Wow, okay.
I don't know about that.
I think he gave the strongest, strangest, darkest, funniest, and most, like, variety-filled performance of the year that I've seen. And that's a hot take, I guess. But I think he impressed me way more than, like, what are the normal runners, I guess? Viggo Morton.
Wait, so he impressed you more than Bradley Cooper in Stars Born?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Just want to take another look at
That was Sam Elliott, Jack.
No, that's what I just said. It was like, I want to take another look at you.
That was Bradley Cooper. Oh, never mind.
Okay, as a whole, I think he really gave his all. And hearing, what was it? There was an interview that he did where he was like, it was probably just him again hyping up the movie, just like Von Trier himself was. He's like saying, like stuff that's kind of like, oh, we're gonna watch this because it's shocking. It's gonna be like, woo, and it's gonna be like where he was scared. He was scared to watch, like, the third incident, which is the infamous children murdering, getting shot, and being force fed by their mother while they were after getting killed. He was scared to watch that because he said he was, like, genuinely horrified at what he would think of himself for being.
And then you watch the movie, and it's honestly fucking tame for a movie about a serial killer. Honestly, American Psycho is honestly way more graphic than this movie.
It's way more graphic and better. Except for they killed the ducky.
American Psycho is in the mainstream, and it's way more graphic than this movie. Like that movie.
Killed the ducky, but they killed the ducky because art, I guess. I don't know.
That has American Psycho is a scene where Chris Bell drops a chainsaw from a stairway, and it drops on a hooker's body and just chops her up.
Yeah, it's hilarious it's hilarious and horrifying.
And American Psycho is this movie done right, but Mark, keep going.
I feel like what y'all are talking more about is the things that you would hear people complain about you were never really here. And the reason I bring that up is because You Were Never Really Here and The House of Jack Built are both films that are by design created to unsatisfy the viewer and make them very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but You Were Never Really Here is great.
In its presentation of violence, that's where I'm kind of making the connection mostly. As in which You Were Never Really Here takes a more very distancing itself from the violence and making sure the audience feels completely disconnected and make sure that every single blow, every single kill, every single hit is it's not satisfying. Like in a normal action movie.
Yeah, why MS complained about that in his review, but now now you're saying that, now I completely think that was definitely the intent.
So Mark, is there much more that you wanted to say, by the way?
Yeah. I was gonna, I guess we could go back and more into this when we're talking about debate. But I'm saying that it kind of constructs itself in a very it's not trying to be the most graphic film ever, but I feel like the advertising and the hype definitely made it seem like it. And that's usually how it always is with films from Cannes that are like, oh, it's disgusting. It's so, it made me walk out. People were throwing up or whatever like that. It kind of already puts a mindset into it. Like I remember a lot of people.
I'd love to see how the people at Cannes react to Cannibal Holocaust or a Serbian film.
They banned the guy who made Cannibal Holocaust, and they banned his movie in 20 countries.
Yeah, it was
no joke, which was good.
It was disqualified.
This movie's bad, and you should feel
The filmmaker of Cannibal Holocaust was arrested.
Yeah, he
One
was.
who made Cannibal Holocaust was arrested and put in court.
But the violence in The House of Jack Built is definitely unsatisfying to, I feel, a fault. It's not trying to be satisfying. It's not trying to be like, oh, this is a movie all about the murders. It's more of a film about how this character and how he interacts with the world and how he sees it. And even then, it's more of just not really a character of Von Trier himself. But then again, this goes into bigger spewing of incoherent ideas, which is just what Von Trier does, and he's great at. But I think that's also a fault to him as well. Anyways,
I feel like I'm kind of in between both of the groups. I would say that this is definitely one film that I'm going to rewatch one day, because this is like a film that there's so much to think about, and I don't feel like I explored a lot of it when I watched it initially. It's currently at like a 3 out of 5 for me, but I could honestly see myself bringing up the score. There's definitely stuff that I loved in the film. In fact, I loved the first hour of the movie. Like the first hour, I loved. I thought the first hour was legitimately great, and then the following hour and a half is where it's like stuff started to become iffy, quote unquote, for me. Like I said, previous stuff that I completely agree with, like Matt Dillon, he's genuinely terrifying. It's an incredible performance. Like I don't see Matt Dillon at all. Like even if I look at Matt Dillon now, I don't really know him for much other things. I haven't seen a lot of his other work, but I'm just looking at the guy now. He's horrifying.
Okay. I feel like it's going to be hard to see somebody watch this, then try and watch another film that Matt Dillon has been in, and try and picture anything else.
Herbie Fully Loaded,
being a serial killer.
Herbie Fully Loaded.
Dude, I'm not going to be able to watch Herbie Fully Loaded with Lindsay Lohan.
Classic.
So I should also mention that I have seen some of Lars von Trier's previous work. I've seen Antichrist, which I like, and I've seen Denzel Dark, which I love.
Denzel the Dark is great.
Great move. Both of those.
Yeah.
I wish I watched those before watching this turd.
I feel like having like an understanding of Lars von Trier's style kind of helps. I think 2 films of that, even though like they're the only ones I've seen, I think those 2 films are good to like kind of get a grasp of the style. Would that be correct, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
most definitely.
Good. I still even after this, there's still other films of his I really want to see. I do want to see Melancholia. I think I'll skip it for Maniac.
Melancholia is okay.
Nymphomaniac is like a worse version of the house that Jack built.
Nymphomaniac
that's
is awful. Nymphomaniac.
Plus,
is
it's
awful.
like this, like it's 2 parts, and it's like it's just so.
I
long.
think
I'm like,
I think actually there's like a combined version of both of them, and I quote 5.5 hours long.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just like
God.
I can't be bothered.
Don't
Like,
even bother.
Yeah.
The second part's not that bad, honestly. There's some really great scenes in it, but I think as a whole, for the experience, it's not worth it at all.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it. I'll say this: I respect Lars for like breaking boundaries and not really having a censor on himself. I can respect that, honestly. He doesn't exactly care what the public would think of him if he showed that. So I can respect that.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect that too. I respect that very much.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I honestly don't really give it. I honestly kind of don't really expect it, especially if you don't have a moral compass. Cannibal Holocaust is one of the worst movies ever made.
The next hour and a half is kind of where it started to, I wouldn't say fall apart, but become more, I'm not sure how to describe them like the following hour and a half. There's still stuff that I really like. The ending is like kind of I don't think that worked for me. I think that's just kind of like that's where I was thinking like this is like Lars starting to go really just up his own ass by that point. But even like the kill that like the whole scene before that, I thought that was extremely well done. Even just scenes like playing them out as their own. Like the scene where he has like the woman trapped in like the hotel room, and and Jack even lets him like scream out for help with no one to help, even letting her scream out the window with no one to help her. That is just one of the most horrifying thoughts that you can think of.
Yeah.
Not terrifying scene.
Not to sound like a normie, and this was the entire point. I actually get that. In fact, I like that significance of the scene. At the same time, would that really happen? Like, that seemed to be a pretty built-up building.
Still, it's possible. It's possible
Unless,
for it to happen.
no one
That's
cares.
a terrifying thought.
Wow, that is creepy as fuck.
Yeah. It's possible to happen. Is it highly likely? No, but if you're in that position, that is like a horrifying position to be able of having the ability to just scream out for no one to hear you.
Yeah.
So Lars does know how to kind of get into like that really like cold and dark place into the people's minds. Another thing I did want to mention is the movie's funny. I think a lot of it's
very funny.
It's really funny.
Oh, yeah.
The scene, it still plays in my mind. The hilarious scene where he gets the lady who plays Fred's mom. By the way, underrated actress. She's really great. I love seeing her in random stuff. She pops up in a lot of stuff. And it's a really funny scene where he has the choice to like put her in a car, but he just drags her, and her body's just like being dragged along a concrete road for like miles, and it's so horrific that it's really funny. I was saying the other day, it kind of reminded me of Killing of a Sacred Deer, where it's just so horrible and horrific that it starts to become funny.
Right. Okay. I was gonna say that. You brought up the whole like you said one of the most terrifying scenes for you was when she's screaming in the hotel, and like he cuts off her breast.
Yeah.
That's what it escalates to, and then it cuts away from that. I don't know why, but I found it the funniest shit is that he basically just walks up to a car and he just fucking slaps it down on the windshield and he puts the windshield wiper on top of it.
Oh god, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was hilarious.
He just walks away. It's like it's a whiplash of like kind of emotions and tones.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's funnier than most movies.
It really is.
I laughed more in the house that Jack built than Holmes and Watson. I just want to add that.
Oh
No
my
fucking
goodness.
shit.
Jesus Christ, that's a fact.
Okay, so
Like,
can
does
I
anyone really
just say
argue
something?
with you on that? Like, does anyone be like, actually, I found Home and Watson funnier than the house that Jack built.
It's kind of hard for me to give thoughts right now because again, I watched it. It's like been 3 or 4 weeks since I've watched it, but I definitely don't hate it. There's stuff that I don't like in it. Sometimes I feel like Lars can get a little, heavy on the dialogue and where he's over-explaining stuff. Like, I believe it was the third incident where he kills his family? Was it the third one?
Yeah.
That's where I was starting to get I felt like he was starting to over-explain things, where just like, where he's like comparing them to animals and stuff. It's just like, I think after a while, it's just like, I feel like it's just too much dialogue. I feel like it needed to be a little bit more subtle with stuff like that.
Jack. Yeah. I agree with that, but I also disagree with that. And I'd say it's mostly because there is the guide. I guess, is that, are we going to refer to him as that? The guy?
Sure, we
the
can-
one who's
yeah, sure.
The guy, he's kind of there, and while he is explaining his thoughts and his own perception of his murders, he's there and he's criticizing almost every other word he's saying. He's saying, well, if you're comparing your murder to architecture, how does it have any meaning towards anybody who isn't an architect?
Huh.
How does comparing your family to animals have any appeal to anybody who isn't a hunter? What is there?
Yeah, but who's the narrator? Why is he there? Why is he talking? Does it have any relevance to the story? And is he a main character? Like I
feel like he's relevant.
He's there.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. The point is that he's walking him through hell. Jack is literally he's blindfolded, and the narrator or the guide, he's there walking him through hell. That's what the whole epilogue is.
Okay.
It's him.
All right.
Okay. All right. I can.
Jack.
Okay.
Jack.
So, Mark, just gonna say thanks because that actually does like open some stuff up for you. That's interesting. Okay, I like that. I kind of take back what I said now.
I wish I enjoyed this movie as much as you guys did, but there's only so fucking much I can listen to Matt Dillon literally explaining every little metaphor in the movie for 2.5 hours with some killing scenes in between. Here's the thing. Okay, I just want to mention, it is going to be impossible, absolutely fucking impossible, for me to talk about why I didn't like this movie without sounding like the biggest normie in the world. Because here's the thing. I am not a normie. You guys know about me. I consider myself to be a pretentious film duper as well.
That's only what a normie would say. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, I mean to be fair, the fact that you know what a normie is and you understand it means you're not a normie.
Because it's just the real thing is that I am very in our house. I love Lanthimos. I love Lynch. And they are the two directors who do the kinds of things that Von Trier tried to do this movie correctly. Here's the thing.
You also love Stanley Kubrick too.
And Kubrick. Yeah, Kubrick.
Yeah.
But the real thing is that I think that if people say that you just didn't get this movie, I think it's physically impossible to say that someone didn't get this movie when the movie literally explains every single metaphor directly to you through narration.
I'd agree, and then I'd also disagree with that, Brian. But that's more or less because I feel you can say,
Hey guys, I'll be
I
right
think
back.
that's
I'm
more or
gonna get
less
some
getting
drink.
get the intent behind the decisions.
Getting the
Explaining.
intent.
Okay, here's the thing. In fact, actually, I was pretty fascinated with hearing you and Jack talk about like the real significance of what Von Trier was doing with all of it. Like, I'm very interested to hear and all that kind of stuff, very much so. But that doesn't make this movie an enjoyable movie to sit through. I know it's not supposed to be. It's a movie about a fucking serial killer. I meant like this movie's mostly a boring ass slog that I just had a hard time getting through.
I want to add, can I add one thing? Sorry,
Sure.
just one little thing.
Sure, it's fine.
I was going to say, that's, if you don't find it, like, entertaining or you find it boring, that's completely fine. I don't know what it was for me. It's a 2.5 hour long movie. I was never bored. Even if there was decisions I didn't like, I still found it entertaining.
Like, I get everything, but in fact, actually, here's the thing. It's not even that, like, I just don't get everything, because here's the thing. Most of the metaphors in the movie, I think, are actually clever. I think there's a lot of clever stuff that Von Trier is writing down for this movie, like the whole thing of having a serial killer who is basically compared to, like, an artist who's, like, basically a pretentious-ass serial killer who basically is just, like, comparing his killings to art and the many, many forms of art. Which, I mean, I'll give it to Von Trier. That's a pretty smart thing to put down. But that doesn't help when just, like, literally, how do I want to explain this? It's just, like, everything about, like, basically, one word, pretentious. I know that's overused for this particular movie, but my god, it feels that way. Like, Von Trier's head is so far up his own ass, I wouldn't be surprised if he can taste his shitty beard hairs.
Right? It's one way to put it.
Not just with showing his clips when he's talking about violence in art, as if he's the first person in the world who's ever created art of violence in film. Also, just everything. I don't know. Here's the thing. Matt Dillon's performance is great. He's great in the movie. He knows exactly what he's doing. Here's the thing. I know this is also going to sound like a normie thing, but the directing is, like, genuinely distracting. All the shaky cam. Like, I don't know why they couldn't have just shot this movie in just, like, a tripod.
Well, there are a couple of scenes, there are a couple of moments at the end where they thank God.
I meant the entire movie, because, like, most of it was, like, shaky ass.
Well, that is like that is kind of like a
Trier's
staple of large Von Trier's style.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting I'm going to love other Von Trier movies. Like, Dance in the Dark sounds fantastic. I can't wait to watch it. I might watch it.
It is. It's amazing.
It's great. It is really, really great.
I want to watch it soon, actually.
I will say this just real quick. I think Lars von Trier has an interesting style, and I find his style very, how do I put it, encapsulating. Like it really sucks me in, though I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit much. Like like he's been criticized for it before, but sometimes like the way he'll like cut two shots together, so it's like it looks like they like a purposeful edit. Sometimes that can get like very distracting.
Also, the writing is mostly a big mess. Like mainly with the opening scene of Uma Thurman, I was about ready to just straight up just check out. I was like, what in the fuck is this dialogue?
Yeah, that's like very. I think.
I get it's supposed to be ridiculous. Like, it's like, but she's like specifically starting like, oh, if you were a serial killer, you'd do this. So you would take me out of the car and you would bash my brains in with that Jack sitting right there. I'm like, okay, I get it, but who the fuck talks like this? I get it. It's supposed to be ridiculous. It's supposed to be extremely experimental, extremely dark. I get that. I love a lot of movies like that. Like I love Lanthimos with all my fucking heart, and he does that kind of stuff. But he does it in a way where, I don't know, it's just the dialogue.
It comes across as like really dark and really hilarious. This just didn't.
Like, if you want like a good version, just go watch Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Just do that.
It's kind of like a loose comparison, but if you want a movie that also has like a similar way of just like conveying all its metaphors, I mean, not like that has like 2.5 hours of narration to explain every little thing about the movie to you. Just more so if you just want like a dark, somewhat the movie that's like Jack said, so gruesome that that it gets funny after a while. And go watch Killing of a Sacred Deer. It's a masterpiece. I love that movie with all my heart.
See, Brian,
What?
I genuinely can't really say much to you because so much of what you kind of said, or what you've said as your criticisms toward the film are very subjective.
Yeah, I
And-
guess it is. It's just, the thing is, like I said, I'm very, very into like movies that I should have loved this movie. Like, I remember I was really looking forward to this movie when the trailer dropped. I was like, oh my god, this looks like a very bizarre, messed up. Yeah, like I was expecting to like it, mostly because the trailer honestly kind of gave me a different impression. Like, I wasn't expecting this movie to just be all narration. I know I keep going back to the narration, but seriously, that's just like, with all the times I just paused the movie, just explain everything to you, I was like, even when they got to the scenes of them killing, I was just about ready to just give up. Also, the editing is distracting.
Oh, without a doubt. That's completely understandable.
Like, I don't know what the fuck was up with the editing.
That's something I was going to add. Yeah, there is points where the editing does get like distracting at points.
Yeah,
like I was
I
saying
don't-
before, like the infamous Lars von Trier like cut between two shots like within the same like frame. Like that can kind of get like very annoying after a while.
Yeah. It's just like,
There's this one. I think I remember there was a shot in Nymphomaniac with Charlotte Gainsbourg in a bed, and she like turns to talk to the guy, and then it cuts like in the same shot, her turning her head again.
like I
Stuff
admire
like that
a
I'm
lot.
talking about.
I admire a lot of the really, really dark and messed up humor for this movie. I admire it quite a bit. I see exactly what Von Trier was going for.
Did you ever find it funny?
Wait, what? Well, I mean,
Did you ever find it funny? Just out of curiosity.
I actually found some parts of the movie to be like, oh, that's kind of funny, actually. Like I said, most of my reasons for disliking are just subjective. Just mostly that, like I said, I can handle like really deep art house filmmaking. I've explained that many times. You know that about me. I'm a pretentious ass guy myself. But there's only so much that I can sit through without just watching a literal Nazi and sexual predator, just jerk himself off for 2.5 hours because he's found something clever. And he just does all this stuff with it that just feels like he just is so... Like I said, it just really is a pretentious-ass, annoying experience.
Honestly...
That's all I really have to say. And I'm sorry if I came off as a normie because of this. Just...
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying two things. One, just like Brian said, I'm gonna come off as a big fucking normie. And I'm not a normie. I love a lot of art house movies. The favorite, which I think we're going to be talking about later in this podcast,
Yeah, we are.
is currently my favorite film of the year so far. Spoiler alert. And I love a lot of art house movies. I love David Lynch, and I love Lanthimos and a bunch of other art house films. So if you say, "Oh, you just hate art house movies," well, no, that's not true. And second, I want to quickly state this: a lot of people might go into my opinion thinking he's probably gonna lampoon this. He's probably gonna criticize this movie for what it depicts, and no, that's not what I'm going to do, because when I judge a movie, I don't consider my own morality. And the reason why I do that is because I think morality should be separate from filmmaking, because...
Thank you. I agree. I honestly
Yeah,
agree.
same here.
If
I feel like you should separate your political views from your opinions on movies. I mean, here's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, if you don't like a movie because of your morality, that's fine, sure. You know, that's perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that.
I feel like it does depend on. I feel like to a degree, it does depend on what the film is saying. Like, I'm not gonna let's for instance like
to an extent, yeah.
I mean, can you really put your political views aside for something like, I don't know, Birth of a Nation?
Or
you can't really
like that's inherently racist.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
do that with many of early. You can't really do that with many early TW films.
Here's the thing.
Sure.
I really just if you have your morality and your opinions, you need to do it in a way that, like, for one thing, yes, put your morality in shit like Birth of a Nation, because I mean, why wouldn't you? But I'm mainly talking about the people who still to this day think 3 Billboards is racist. Which,
oh yeah.
To say that it is.
Oh god, I hate those people.
Joke.
That's
a joke.
For people like that means
it feels like a fucking joke.
It is a joke.
But people like them, they don't even matter because they've just completely missed the entire point of the movie.
It feels like a joke. Like,
exactly.
Saying, oh, this movie's racist.
They're looking at it like just the very surface level stuff. Oh, the character who was racist doesn't like get all the shit. This movie's racist bad.
Well, even though he did get all the shit. Here, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and here's my theory. My theory is that people who saw 3 Billboards and said it was racist fell asleep in the middle act and woke up when Dixon was being redeemed. Was like, what? The racist character was redeemed, and fell asleep during the parts where he was thrown out a window and set on fire for the shit that he did.
Dixon really wasn't redeemed though.
Exactly, he wasn't. He wasn't redeemed at all. I just thought like that's what some people. In fact, he wasn't even redeemed. He just did something right for once. Which anyone with half a brain knows that is just being a good person after the shit you've done.
Like, by the way, Dixon wasn't, like, I agree, he wasn't, like, redeemed. He was just going on a better path, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, when will people understand this?
The thing is, if I were to judge movies based on my morality, I would absolutely hate American Psycho. Because I think that, just axing someone for no reason, that's obviously moral standard. Vigilantism is a different thing, because I think that vigilantism can be okay under some circumstances. But axing someone for no reason whatsoever, just to get like political or monetary gain, that's wrong. But I love American Psycho because it's such a brilliant commentary on those people, and it's clearly mocking those people.
And sorry to interrupt you, George, but I just want to say that this movie is basically American Psycho done wrong, and the fact not just that, of course, I'm not just comparing this because it's a movie about killing, but also because of the fact how, in terms of serial killer characters, Patrick Bateman was much more well written. He knew, he was smart. He was extremely well written. He knew exactly how to cover up his shit without just looking obvious. Unlike Jack, who literally has a scene where he just stands like, "Oh yeah, there's this," and like, "Oh yeah," and just like looking all nervous. Here, can I just go on a little thing?
To be fair, there is no scene in this film where Jack dances to a Huey Lewis song. So that does kind of like bring it down.
The thing is, can I just mention how much I fucking hate the trope of like people who are hiding something in a movie and they make it like so obvious and are so nervous, like, oh, I'm totally not hiding something. Like, I know this sounds like a stupid.
Oh my god!
I fucking hate that.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of that trope too.
I'm sick of it as well.
But okay,
do you remember that one scene in Big Hero 6 where fucking the kid was like pushing around this big ass robot? He was like, "Oh, I'm totally not hiding something," like sweating and like, what the? I don't know.
You're making it blatantly obvious,
right?
dude.
Well, yeah, it is a very annoying trope, and I definitely agree with you that it's overused. I do think that comparing the house, like what happens in the House of Jack to something like Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6 is more something that happens.
Okay, I'm not saying they're similar movies.
No. I'm saying, but like the scenario, like what happens is I'm trying to hide this, but I'm not doing a good job. I feel, in the House of Jack it's more off of the character and his own ego, where it's like, yes, you should check this entire room, because he also wants to like be like assured that he did a good job. That he
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Of course, like that is what I was like. I wasn't saying before, but like that is a point where he's like, he's so proud of his work that he wants for people just to be like, yeah, I didn't do anything here, Because there's that really funny bit where he has to go back to the house 3 times because he's that frantic that he missed a spot or something.
Yeah, because it's just I just hate when movies use that trope, especially movies like this where it's such suspense as to whether or not he's going to get caught or whatnot. And I'm like,
yeah, but this one it does make sense. But this one it makes sense, and it's not just it's just not just dull.
I'm just
it's
so
not a dumb scene. It makes sense to his character.
I'm just so used to that trope being used in a way that just makes me feel like that I'm stupid.
It just
it's as if the writers of the movie just think that I'm an idiot. When in fact, because one of my favorite things about American Psycho from the beginning, even when I first watched it, that's what I thought was how it doesn't use that trope and how smart and genius of a character Patrick Bateman is. Okay, anyway, I'm George. Keep going. I'm just
it's fine, man. So I'm not judging a movie based on my morality, because my political views. I'm judging the movie entirely from the standpoint of storytelling, filmmaking, acting, blah blah blah, and on that level, it's not a good movie. Now, okay.
Wait, in acting?
Matt Dillon is great, objectively great. The rest of the cast,
okay, that's fair.
That is, I would beg to differ. Uma Thurman.
Fred's mom, go. What are your thoughts on Fred's mom?
Fred's mom. I still can't believe she's in the movie.
Just imagine. Actually, that's all I know. I just like seeing her. Just here's the thing. You know how some
actors, some people, they just kind of pop up. No, yeah, I was gonna say I like this too.
I mean, if
I do think it's kind of funny though. Just imagine her resume. Yeah, so what have you been in? I've been in Dance in the Dark, Men in Black.
We need to talk about Kevin.
Build, Fred movie. We need to talk about Kevin.
No, just imagine if Lars von Trier were Fred's father.
Oh my god!
No,
actually,
wait, Jack. John Cena, but John Cena is his father in that movie too.
Wait, do you guys think that one scene where Jack kills Fred's mom is a sequel to the Fred movies?
Yeah,
it's they move to a new house and then Jack is busting the Fred.
So we just found out that Lars von Trier is secretly just a big Fred.
Oh my god, you guys! My mom's totally got slaughtered by Matt Dillon.
Hey, oh my goodness.
And then they put that video on iCarly.
Dude, oh my god.
You guys remember when Fred was on iCarly? That was the shit. So here's the thing. In the filmmaking standpoint, there are a lot of great shots in this movie, a lot of really beautiful shots. But for the most part, the movie's shot with a really uncomfortable shaky cam. I mean, now shaky cam can be effective. I mean, First Man, for example, I think implements shaky cam incredibly. Yeah, in Saving Private Ryan as well. And I think
any of the Bourne movies.
The Bourne movies. The Bourne movies use shaky cam very well.
Paul Greengrass actually does use shaky cam and handheld cam pretty well.
Oh, and Catherine Bigelow, I think she does shaky cam pretty well too.
Yeah,
her too. Yeah.
The Hurt Locker. I'm not a huge fan of the Hurt Locker, but she uses shaky cam very, very well. In that movie.
Classic. I don't care.
Keyword that you used in that sentence was very uncomfortable shaky cam, and I think. I'm not even. I think that's pretty much what von Trier does with his films. He makes.
Okay. Maybe uncomfortable is the wrong word. It very obnoxious shaky cam.
Obnoxious. Okay, there you go.
It's very obnoxious, and if Lars von Trier is going to learn to use shaky cam, he should learn from Damien Chazelle, or Damn Chaz, as I like to call him. I think First Man and Saving Private Ryan both use shaky cam a lot better than what's it called? House That Jack Built. God, I get that the shaky cam is supposed to make you feel really uncomfortable, but can you lock the camera down on a tripod for at least 2 seconds? Come on, it's not that hard to do.
It's so distracting.
It is. It really is distracting, and not really to mention the shots that are locked down on a tripod are gorgeous. They're incredible.
I would like to add something. I despite what I said, that I feel like sometimes his style can kind of get in the way. I actually quite like the way he moves his camera because depending on like the scenario, like even like the hotel scene, I think the handheld works I think it works really well because it kind of like I feel like it makes you feel more like you're there, like a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
makes it
No,
feel,
I
like,
understand
more
that.
intimate and more terrifying.
I understand that, and I kind of want to mention that like, okay, so you know how like there's that zoom shot from like where it's a close up on the balcony, and then as the chick screams, it just like immediately zooms out. It reminds me of a lot of Altman's zooms, like because he does all those zooms like in Nashville and The Player, Shortcuts. But disregarding whether or not he was trying to copy Altman, he very well could have been, he very well might not have been. It's kind of distracting, and I don't think it really works for the scene. Like the way Altman does it, he does it as a way to emphasize something. And Lars von Trier, I'm not really sure what he's doing here. You know what I mean? I need to go into spoiler territory to really explain the next part. And this is involving the narration between the two main characters. And I understand that Mark was saying, oh, the other guy was the guy who was leading Jack into hell. Okay, that's fine and all. And I'm not going to complain about that because, you know, I mean, what's the problem with that? The thing is, I had the same problem that Brian had. They were just, when they were talking, they were basically explaining the entire movie.
Yeah, like they just every time any kind of metaphor is.
Oh yeah, they did that.
They spend like 10 minutes. They spend like 10 minutes explaining. So basically, here's this, and it's kind of like art in a way.
It's really annoying.
It's almost like he was so afraid that people were gonna figure it's like can you let us figure it out for 1 fucking second?
As if he just thinks the entire audience is a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, he's just spoon feeding it to us. Okay, so
he just thinks that all the audience are idiots.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse and copy YMS, but that scene with the lamppost was fucking ludicrous.
Oh my god, it was.
It was.
The lamppost scene.
I mean,
it was absurd.
I see what Von Trier was going for with that, but I don't really see why they need to have that in the movie, and the fact that they kept cutting back to it when it's just, I guess, kind of like a little bit of a clever metaphor. And then they cut back to it like 3 other times, I think.
Okay, can we just talk about the fact that I don't know, he likes basically, I don't know, what the hell is that stock montage of his other movies about?
That's what I was actually just about to get into that. And yeah, I might be copying YMS again, but then again, Chris Stuckman mentioned the same thing in his review. The sequence where the two characters are just pontificating about use of violence in film, and Lars von Trier is just showing Antichrist and Melancholia and Dancer in the Dark. And it's like how far is your head up your own ass if you're literally going to show your own movies in a discussion about art? Like, what the fuck? I don't even think M. Night Shyamalan would do that. M. Night Shyamalan wouldn't even go that far.
No, M. Night Shyamalan's worse. At least, like, give this guy some credit. Lars von Trier didn't exactly write himself into the movie as his own person, saying that he would save the universe.
Here's the thing. I hate
Lady of the Water style.
I hate YMS with all my heart, but his review of this movie was spot on. Like, pretty much everything he said about this movie I completely agree with.
Yeah, and I've been accused of kind of ripping off YMS, and okay, to an extent, I probably kind of am, but he's right about this movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, and like he said, part of him wants to watch the movie again. I kind of feel the same way, but I really, I had too much of a sour experience to want to watch it again. I mean, even in the end credits, he can't stop jerking off because he credited himself as the guy who made the concept for the house. And I'm just like, your head is so... Your head...
Like, people bring up that point a lot. I'm like, okay. I mean, it doesn't hold that much significance to me, I guess.
Yeah, it's just the credits, actually, though.
I mean, yeah, it is in the credits. And now, something I don't really understand is the final shot when Matt Dillon is falling into hell. And this might be a bit of a nitpick, but for some reason, it just turns into a black and white painting. Like okay? Like, what is that supposed to signify, exactly? Like, I don't think he got that message across. It's like this is the thing about my thing about the messages with this movie. either the messages in this movie are made painfully obvious by the two main characters just pontificating about everything in the movie, or they make no fucking sense at all. And yeah, the movie does have some interesting points, like, do you feel empathy when you kill a bug or something like that? But, I mean, for the most part, the movie is just really shallow, boring, and uninspired to me. And again, I'm not judging this movie based on my morality, because if I judge movies based on my morality, I would hate American Psycho, but I love American Psycho. I'm just judging this movie based on storytelling, filmmaking, etc., etc. And my overall rating of this movie is a 3 out of 10, but I might honestly drop it to a 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can go that far.
So you guys that didn't like the movie, what positives can you actually name about the movie? Aside from
I can name some.
I can name a few. Like some of the cinematography is great.
Yeah.
And the movie did make me think about some things, which I liked.
Yeah, which is an accomplishment for sure. And Matt Dillon's performance is honestly great. He knew, like, he's able to convey. Like, do you ever think that guy from There's Something About Mary would be like a ruthless serial killer? You could completely buy it. Completely buy it.
I forgot he was in that movie until you brought it up.
Bogus, because honestly, Spider-Man made me think more about life and death than fucking
actually.
Pathetic action.
Yeah, honestly, yes. I agree. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
that's a fucking fact. I knew you guys are getting sick,
yeah,
but it's an honest fucking fact.
Oh yeah, and just one last thing. I respect people who like the movie, and to a certain extent, I can actually understand why someone would enjoy the movie, like Jack and Mark. I understand why you guys would enjoy the movie. I personally just found it to be really pretentious and basically just, Lars von Trier just seeing how long he could jerk himself off for.
Honestly, my thing is that you can like a movie, but it still can be garbage as fuck.
Unless it's the Psycho remake, then it's objectively a bad movie.
Unless it's Suicide Squad.
Unless it's 8 Crazy Nights.
8 Crazy Nights, oh god, Matthew.
Don't bring that shit.
I was such a shithead.
Shut up.
Okay, stop right now.
Okay, well, no. I didn't hate the movie as much as Brian and George did, but damn, what a fucking hot mess this movie was. Like, holy fucking shit. What the hell was Lars von Trier thinking?
If we're talking about House of Jack, it's an honest film. Or not really honest, but it's more of an honest film. Okay, this is what I'm getting at. It's an honest film that contradicts itself in and of itself. It's a contradictory of a lot of things. If you want to call it good, it can be bad. If you want it to be bad, it's good. But again, we said with any movie. But I'm just saying with this, it kind of sticks out more. It sticks out a little past because it contradicts so much in its style, in its presentation, in its characters, its dialogue, its cinematography, and its themes, and its idea of challenging said themes. It's hyper contradictory in a way where it's kind of
if it's a contradiction in itself, then it's honestly a negative. You can't just change a positive. You can't just say the negative. It's like, it's not that bad of a negative. It's a negative, then it's a negative. A contradiction is a bad thing, and by therefore making an example of being a negative. You can't just say, oh well, it wasn't that bad. If it's a negative, then it's a negative.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay. Please explain what made it truly negative.
Okay. Well. I'm going to say, the fact of the matter is, Brian, George have already mentioned the points. I don't really need to go into detail of what I've explained. It's just, it's not a very good movie.
Very subjective? Because honestly, most of what they boil, I'm not trying to be or come off like an asshole here, but I'm just saying, most of their points were heavily subjective and based.
And that's fine. It's just it depends on what you
think. I mean, I don't like this movie, but if someone else likes this movie, I mean, who gives a shit?
I completely agree.
I said if people like it, that's perfectly fine, but that doesn't.
And I don't think it's really an objectively bad movie. I hate the movie, but I don't hate it enough to the point where I ostracize people who like it.
I'm not gonna ostracize people for liking it.
It's quite the compliment.
There's a difference, okay? I think it's a bad movie, but I didn't say people were wrong for liking it. I said it's a bad movie. If people like it, then they like it.
Okay. I know it's a little late to ask this, and I'm cool if we don't want to, but if we could do it quickly, just since I know 3 of us have seen it, maybe 4 of us, could we all talk about Sisters Brothers real quick? First, Jake Gyllenhaal, John C. Reilly, Riz Ahmed, and I'm forgetting someone.
Joaquin Phoenix, yes. What did you think?
What do you guys think?
Well, unfortunately, I never saw that.
Okay, I'll give my thoughts first. Okay, so this movie I wanted to see when it first came out in theaters. It was in and out of my theaters. It was only in there for a fucking week. Because Annapurna did the absolute... not to go on a huge tangent, but oh my god, Annapurna did the worst fucking job distributing this movie. Like, their job distributing this movie was so fucking garbage. Like, it took them 3 weeks to expand it, and it was only until, like, a tweet came out. So, like, Sisters Brothers was 3 weeks into its run, only playing, like, 5 theaters, and it made, like, $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
Still made more than Billionaire Boys Club, though. What is it even?
No, it's like, yeah, I couldn't even find a close theater. It was like the closest theater was like 20 to 30 miles away. I couldn't even find a close theater to watch.
It straight up just didn't play in my country.
That was me with what Ethan said was me with Wildlife. It never played.
Side note on Suspiria, I wanted to see that, but it was only playing for 3 days, and I could not freaking watch that.
Here's the thing. Okay, Sisters Brothers was in my local AMC, which I always go to, which plays all the indies, which thank you so much for my local AMC. But I could have gone that week because I actually was there that week. But I saw Old Man the Gun instead because I wanted to see that more. But yeah, it fucked you, Annapurna, for barely putting this anywhere. And I have a theory that if that tweet didn't come out, or like any tweets that called them out for it came out, they would not have done shit. They would just like let it rot because Annapurna is trash at distributing. There's case closed. Also, Sisters Brothers, it's a good movie. It's a pretty good movie. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. I thought it definitely meandered sometimes with the pacing. I can handle a slow burn. I think at least half the movie had a really good way of having a slow pace and a way that was needed. I'm not expecting this movie to be extremely fast paced, but I do feel like it definitely meanders at points. Basically my thoughts of this movie are kind of like with Jack and Annihilation. I just think it does meander at points, but the performances are great. Jake Gyllenhaal's his performance is great, but his accent is weird. Like, it sounds like he's trying to be British, but he doesn't sound British at all. He just sounds like Southern British. Like, it makes Dick Van Dyke's accent and Mary Poppins look like Robert Downey Jr.'s accent in Natural Born Killers.
So it's like the love baby of Emma Thompson and Holly Hunter.
No, I guess so.
I guess. It's way more smooth than that.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was a good movie. Good Western. I liked. By the way, there's a really amazing shootout scene that happens like halfway through. I've seen the video I'm talking about. It's like 10 minutes long. It's a great shootout scene. Cinematography's gorgeous. The directing's great. Yeah, I'm not much you can say. It's a solid movie with great performance. John C. Reilly.
Great. Krimes, do you want to go or should I go?
Yeah, I'll go. Quick rapid fire.
Go ahead.
I really like the Sisters Brothers. It's directed by Jacques Diard.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Diard. He made A Prophet, Deep Hand, Rust and Bone, which all three I've seen prior to watching it.
You've talked about Deep Hand before.
Deep Hand's really good. It's like Roma, but better.
Okay.
Way better. Anyways,
sure.
It's definitely a takeoff. It's a big takeoff from the Sisters Brothers. It's nothing like any of his previous films. That's all I can say. From time period to style well, not really style, well, kind of style, but I mean, even within its own story, it's very different, and it's a big step for Jacques, and I really liked it. I found it has a very slow pace to it, but I found it very fitting for the film and the characters, and it kind of let them blossom.
Yeah. I do feel like
more felt very natural.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
And I also felt that John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix have great chemistry and they are fantastic together on screen.
For some reason,
completely agree.
For some reason, I always thought Joaquin's name was like Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know. I always thought it was like that.
Okay.
Okay, you mind if I go?
Anything else you need to add, Krimes?
It's a great movie. 8 out of 10.
Okay, so I'll go next. Has anybody else here seen it?
I've seen it.
Mark.
I've seen it.
Okay. Alright.
I did not see it, unfortunately.
Okay.
I loved it. It's one of my absolute favorite movies of the year. I didn't actually find the pacing slow at all. I actually found it really, really entertaining, and I didn't find it ever boring. Quick question. This may seem weird, but Brian, like, what time of the day did you watch it?
I actually watched it, I think, if I can remember correctly, it was I think in the early afternoon. Does it matter?
Okay. Sometimes, like, when you watch a slow burner in the morning, it's not nearly as effective as you watch it at night.
Well, I know
That's
that
just
because
yeah.
I just watched it. Oh no,
that's fine.
I just woke up, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Sometimes that can affect it, but anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, Sisters Brothers, I loved it. I thought the performances were all absolutely excellent. I loved Jake Gyllenhaal's accent. It was great. It was really smooth and charming and wonderful.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. It was what I hadn't heard from him before.
Okay,
I thought it really worked. I think it worked. I don't know. I liked it.
Don't get me wrong, I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, who
He's one of
does?
my favorite actors.
It's like,
He's one of my favorite actors.
He's so popular on film Twitter, so I don't know
Wait,
why.
what movie is this?
Sisters Brothers.
Oh yeah, I for some reason I thought you guys were talking about a different movie. I don't know why.
Okay, but yeah, I found it really entertaining. I thought the chemistry from both people were really great, especially when they come together. I will say, I think sometimes, like for the first half of the movie, when they would cut back from the stories, I would just be like, okay, the thing is, you get really interested in and invested in one story, then it just cuts back to the other one, and then you get invested in that one, then it just cuts back to the other one. That was kind of jarring and a bit annoying. But when they meet up, it's you don't even have to deal with that anymore. And even then, it's just you're going from one great story to another great story. It's just that sometimes it just felt a bit jarring when you had to just stop watching one to watch the other. But yeah, it's really entertaining. It's funny. Performances, like I said, are all absolutely excellent. The shootout, like you said, is great. And it has a really, really good ending. A really, really sweet ending.
Very satisfying.
Very satisfying. And there are also just some really nice, genuine scenes. I love the bit where the parts where John C. Reilly gets use a toothbrush for the first time, just stuff like that.
The horse.
It's so sweet. Yeah, the horse.
The horse talk.
Yeah, it was just really good. Yeah, great. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. In my top 10, actually.
Okay, so here's my hot take about the Sisters Brothers. I think it's decent. And here's the thing. I may sound like a normie here, but I really love this director's film, Rust and Bone, with Marion Cotillard. I think Marion Cotillard is a great actress, and she gave a fantastic performance in that movie. And I love every other performance in that movie, too, but... And I really love that movie. But Sisters Brothers, I think, left me feeling really bittersweet, in a way. Just like how Brian said, it meandered a lot. During the movie.
I don't really see where people say it meandered. I felt it always had a really good pace to it. I thought the pacing was excellent, actually. Well,
here's the thing. I don't have a problem with meandering per se. Meandering, I think, really works best. And I'm not saying it only works this, but I think it works best when specific characters are growing a very specific bond with each other. How in Call Me by Your Name or Lahane, I think meandering really works in both of those movies. In Sisters Brothers, I get that these two characters are really kind of growing as people, but I don't think it really works. I don't think it was handled well. The shootout scene halfway through the movie was great, really well done. And I really like the performances in the movie, like Jake Gyllenhaal and. I really like Jake Gyllenhaal's accent, actually. I like John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix in it a lot. This isn't as boring as Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald.
I have not seen that yet.
Don't watch it, Jack. It's not even worth it.
It really isn't worth it.
Just don't.
It's not worth it at all. I don't have much else to say. I mean, I guess you could call me a normie, but I wasn't really a big fan of it. But, I mean... I mean, there's a lot of merit to it. I think it's a very well shot movie. The cinematography's gorgeous. It's just that, I guess I personally just wasn't a fan of it. If that makes any sense.
Understandable.
Because the filmmaking's great, it really is.
Yeah, it is. Is that about it?
Yeah, that's it for me with the Sisters Brothers. I don't have much to say.
Okay.
All right.
All right, 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
Love it.
Okay, let's move on to another movie. I'm a huge fan of Alfonso Cuarón. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. Children of Men is one of my top 10 of all time, and is, in my opinion, one of the greatest films ever. Because I just think that he's such a visionary mind. Like, he does so much great stuff with extremely long takes, he's able to do shaky cam well. He does so much great stuff with his directing, and he just makes so many great films. I think Gravity's really good. I don't absolutely adore it, mostly because of Sandra Bullock. But I do think that movie has some of the best CGI, I think, in any movie. I don't even think you could deny that. Like, that's just textbook on how to use CGI in movies. And anyway, I just love Alfonso Cuarón. I was looking forward to his latest movie, which is expected to be a hit at the Oscars, even though it didn't get nominated for Best Picture at the Golden Globes, because the Hollywood Foreign Press seems to still discriminate against foreign films. Which one thing?
No, they didn't.
What?
They forgot to. No, that's not what happened. They forgot to send it in time.
Oh, really? Okay. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, the Academy stuff does still do that. Like, sometimes, they just do it for one category, just 5 porn films and that's it. Like, wow. Okay, anyway, yeah, I had the chance to see this movie in theaters because a theater in downtown Pittsburgh is playing it, but I didn't have enough time to, and I was seeing 2 other movies that weekend, so I couldn't. So I watched it on Netflix. It was still a very beautiful experience. The cinematography and directing, perfection. I don't want to hear anyone try and disagree with me. It's amazing. I'm all open to different opinions, but my God, it is so good. He better win Best Director again. The cinematography and the directing, it's gorgeous. The screenplay is great.
Never mind.
What?
Wait, never mind. You were right. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the characters, the screenplay, the story, it's a hard movie to hate unless you're Mark.
I don't even think Mark didn't hate it. I don't think. I think he gave.
I didn't like it.
I think he just gave it a 3 out of 5.
Without a heart.
And it's his best movie.
Oof.
Damn. You don't even like Prisoner of Azkaban?
Not really.
Oh, by the way, that's my second favorite Cuarón. Prisoner of Azkaban.
Question. The one Cuarón I haven't seen. I was going to ask, Mark, have you seen Y2 Mama Tambien? Or
E2 Mama Tambien.
Tambien.
Sorry.
Whatever. Mark, have you seen it?
I think I actually might have that as my highest rated for him. I think it's out of 3.5.
Okay.
With a heart?
Good? With a heart or not heart?
Yeah, with a heart.
Oh, shit!
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I just think this shows Cuarón as a visionary master. With this, Children of Men, Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm assuming E2 Mama Tam. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to. And I'm hoping Roma gets physical release at some point, hopefully on Criterion. I'm hoping Criterion and Netflix can do some kind of deal and just.
I mean, it would be better than Cloverfield Paradox getting a.
People need. Okay, can I just say? Sorry to go on a really quick tangent.
I don't have much to say about Wilma because Brian talked about most of my love for the film because
the entire reason you came on, you can't rip.
Yeah. The cinematography was great, and even though it was in Spanish, I still really loved it. I still like Prisoner of Azkaban and Children of Men more than it though. That's about it. I guess I'll get my thoughts. Go on as a director, and I'm gonna have to sign out because I'm getting kind of tired.
Okay, love you though, bro. See you.
Ethan, you want to go?
Okay.
Oh, nice. So, quick one. Brian, you kind of summed up my thoughts, but I fucking love this movie. It's one of his second favorite movies of the year, one of the second best of the year. It's such a great film. Cinematography was great, directing was on fucking point. I just love every fucking minute of this movie. My only gripe is that the pacing was a bit slow, and I wish there was a bit more character development and the narrative had a more concise point. But overall, I fucking love this. Second best of the year. Bye.
Can I rip the Band-Aid off and say what I didn't like?
Yeah. Go ahead, dude.
Okay. Roma. It's Alfonso Cuarón's best directed film.
I thought you liked E2 Mama Tambien.
Yeah, but I
Tom
don't think
Bien.
that's his best directed film. I don't.
Okay.
I think it's his most amateurish film, but I think it's his best. Like, it's his most emotionally engaging film. Roma is a film that tries to be emotionally engaging. It practically fails because the whole point, or the whole idea behind Roma is trying to tell an intimate story in fast scope, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel
More or less.
it gets more lost in trying to tediously show off the world and present, oh, this is happening and this is happening in the background, and then also like have main characters but not even really characters. You don't get any real connection or attachment to it. It's very abstract and kind of grasping at straws and at times very lazy. And I feel like as much as you might have a very basic connection character, which is Cleo, it's lacking of anything truly meaningful in a way that it kind of, the intimacy that he wants to create conflicts with the persona and presentation he wants to give in not really a complimenting way, but in a very distracting and honestly kind of taking away from the experience way, where it just kind of, for me at least, it felt, oh, look at it, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at all this. Yeah, my name's Alfonso Cuarón. Look at me. I can do this with a camera. Nobody else can do this. And I feel like he kind of lost himself in a very Lars von Trier-esque self-masturbatory way while directing it. But that's just,
Self-masturbatory. I like that term.
it's a very good term. I love that. But yeah, that just kind of sums up my thoughts on Roma. I think it's well directed. I love the sound design. There's some great cinematography, but it's a very pretty exterior with a very shallow and hollow interior. Is what I got.
You know, I can actually understand that to a certain extent, even though I completely disagree. I will completely disagree with Mark, even though I respect his opinion. I fucking love Roma. It's my second favorite movie of the year, and I think
it's an excellent movie.
I think it's the best directed movie of the year. Like,
yeah, dude, what else is like better directed this year?
I think the only
that's 29.
The only couple of movies I think really come close are First Man and The Favorite.
I'm gonna be honest. First Man had some great direction.
I agree with that as well.
And okay, so
First Man, amazing direction.
Like 2049 last year had beautiful cinematography. Roma might actually be slightly better if I'm not.
No.
If I'm being, at least for me, and
I'll agree.
I love, I love the cinematography in Roma. I love the sound design in Roma. The acting in Roma is impeccable, like absolutely impeccable. I can't pronounce the lead actress's name, but that shouldn't matter because she gave one of the best performances of the year.
I did good for how little material they were actually given.
The production design.
I guess the beauty of Roma is that I've read is that people find it interesting that they can kind of form their own story and abstraction behind what's created.
Yeah, the production design is beautiful. Like everything about this movie really is beautiful, and it's just a really beautiful and raw reflection of life. And I think it really works in that regard. And I love Alfonso Cuarón. I love Children of Men. I love Prisoner of Azkaban. I would even go as far as to say I love Gravity, despite it having a lot of flaws. Yeah, I don't have much to say about Roma. I loved it. It's my second favorite movie of the year so far. And I think we'll talk about my favorite movie of the year in just a sec.
I don't really have a lot to say that hasn't already been said. Other than the fact that I think it's a very, very good film, but I don't feel like it's one of my top 10 favorite films of the year. It's a very good film, in my opinion, that does feel like it has scenes that kind of go on for so long, but it's not one of those cases where the other thing is that, like, there are some incredible, like, long takes in the film, especially, like, the one that I'm surprised no one's really talking about. At least from what I've seen, no one really talks about like that incredible just one shot of the woman who's when she gives birth. And, that was hard. That is a heartbreaking shot in my opinion. Like that was incredible. I think that worked really well. Like so well.
I wrote about that in my review.
What'd you guys think of the scene where the guy in the suit like takes off his mask and then sings as the fire is going on behind him.
I literally do not remember that scene.
I love that scene.
No, I remember that scene now. I felt like scenes like that just felt like I don't feel like they were needed.
They didn't justify itself with him being in the film. I guess people kind of see it as an extra layer of immersion and world building, but I felt it did the exact opposite. It just kind of took away from the experience for me.
I agree. I think the film could have been trimmed down just with maybe 2 or 3 scenes just removed because I don't feel like they added much.
Okay,
it
sorry.
Just kind of brought the pacing down.
Sorry, I keep talking over you guys. As much as I enjoyed the movie, I do agree with what you're saying. Where some scenes did go on for a little bit too long, though I did like how a lot of scenes were compiled long takes and a bit slow, because it definitely worked for the movie. It's just that some scenes did feel like they went on for just maybe a little bit too long, but nothing that brought it down or I was bored or anything. I'm not gonna go that far at all.
Sure, and not in the sense that how do I put it? Anybody here seen Buster Scruggs?
Yeah, I've seen Buster Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs, I will add, is one of my favorite movies of the year. But I feel like one of the two, and I know Mark doesn't entirely agree with me on this part. But Girl That Rattled was my second or first least favorite of the shorts.
They're talking about the scenes in Buster Scruggs.
I do like that one because the ending is fantastic. The ending to that is fantastic, in my opinion.
Check.
I think the ending is the ending shootout is fantastic, especially what happens afterwards. But
Jack.
Yes, Mark. Yes, Mark.
Jesus Christ, my dude.
Is that how you kiss? I don't think Girl That Rattled is bad. I want to add that. I think it's too long and I didn't care about the characters.
That's understandable. I feel like as a whole, it's the best and it feels the most complete out of all of the shorts, though. Within its theme, storytelling.
You could argue that, and you could be right, but I just found that one just needlessly longer than the other ones, and it just kind of felt like, especially when the previous ones were nowhere near as long, it just felt like dragged out more than much. But anyway, we were talking about Roma a minute ago. What? Yeah. What I was trying to say I just felt like that one just kind of had been dragged out a bit too much with just scenes that were added in. I just don't felt like needed to be there in the same way that Roma kind of had some scenes that were dragged out with some scenes that didn't really need to be there. But again, much like Girl That Rattled, the ending, even just the last 20-15 minutes of Roma, I think are breathtaking. Just the whole part where they're in the ocean, I was it's incredible to me. I think it's a great film. I just don't think it's one of my absolute favorite movies of the year. When I finished Roma, I was like, wow, that was a very well done film. I loved it, put it on my 2018 ranking, and I didn't really think about it again, if that makes sense. It's just not one that I feel just didn't really leave me with much. I didn't it was nothing I was thinking about after watching about it. It was just good movie, and I moved on. I'd give it an 8. I think about an 8. Yeah,
didn't you say you had a problem with a subplot or something? Which I straight up don't get.
Did I say that?
Notice a subplot? Yeah, you said that in the podcast chat. There was a certain subplot that I had a problem with, which I didn't even notice a subplot. So
I can't even remember now. It probably would have been this. I think it would have just been the whole Sorry, Krimes. I was gonna say by subplot, I felt like it was just that whole extra story about the forest burning down and all that kind of stuff. I'm just I don't feel like that needed to be there. I didn't find that interesting.
Jack, to your defense, I could, now that you explained yourself, I can no longer defend you. But I can see where you're getting from. Ultimately, I would completely understand if somebody said that the main plot, the main plot of the film, is a subplot in and of itself, because it feels so poorly put together in a way. It feels here's a scene, then 30-20 minutes of absolutely nothing connecting to that scene, then another scene that connects to that scene, and then 30-20 minutes of nothing that connects to that, and then there you go. very disconnected and disjointed.
Yeah, it's just one thing about the movie is that there are a lot of things that go on forever. There is like this. It has a story, but I guess there's not there's definitely points where like they take a break from the story in order to like go to something else that's like has nothing to do with the plot. But I mean, even then, like I don't even know how much I mind that because I could watch this movie over and over again probably. I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, just like I felt like I wouldn't even mind if this movie was longer, but like still, my flaw with the movie probably could have been fixed though.
Anyways, I 6 out of 10 for me. Jack said an 8 out of 10. I'm a 9 out of 10.
I'd say like an 8. I don't know.
Then Brian's the 9, and then George is the 9. I'm guessing
10.
Okay, 10.
I haven't given out a 10 out of 10 since Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Okay. George, what was your number 1?
The Favorite is my favorite movie of the year.
God damn it, that's the most obvious joke in the book.
I know. I should eat shit for that. Anyway. I'm being serious. I fucking love The Favorite. It's my favorite movie of the year. I love everything about the movie. Like a lot. Like some people say that the fisheye lens shots distract them.
They didn't distract me at all.
They didn't distract me at all. Like I thought they were really nice. And
I think sometimes it could get a little distracting, but for the most part, it worked well.
And
maybe one shot that I felt was a bit distracting.
Nitpicker, not good.
Every single
conception of Fishbowl with 2000 skater videos.
God damn it, Mark. Every scene in The Favorite is gorgeous. It's straight up gorgeous. The production design, costume design, makeup design, flawless. All the acting is superb. Olivia Colman, my God, I want Olivia Colman to take home that Oscar. Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone, they are also incredible in the movie. They are both just, I mean, they both give like top-notch performances. Some of the best performances in the film. I love all the production design. Nicholas Hoult was also really great in the movie. It's my favorite film of the year. I don't expect it to change. And also, just seeing the fact that Grace Randolph put Black Panther at the top of her 2018 list shows that she still needs to see The Favorite.
I've mentioned like 500 times that I'm a huge fan of Lanthimos. He is one of my favorite directors probably ever. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I fucking love him. Oh my God. I remember when I said that I don't know if his movies were for me. God, were those the dark times.
Exactly.
Then I went back and gave The Lobster another shot, gave Sacred Deer another shot, and they are both two of my favorite movies of the 21st century. Honestly, I'm not even fucking sugarcoating it. They're both brilliant films, and the dry and crazy sense of humor that Yorgos Lanthimos is known for is perfectly executed in there, and The Favorite is no fucking exception. I was so hyped for this movie. I think it's a phenomenal film. Great, phenomenal directing. I was shocked that Lanthimos didn't write this movie, actually, because it oozes his style. The fisheye lens, camera movements didn't distract me. The cinematography and camera movements and all those, so perfect. They're so good. The acting is incredible. Oh my God, Olivia Colman gives a performance of her career, as do Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz. These are probably my favorite performances these actresses have given. If I didn't think about that a bit more, this may be my favorite Emma Stone performance. Honestly,
it's her best. It's the best performance she's ever given.
Honestly, yeah, I can't think of an Emma Stone performance that just wowed me as much as this. I don't even think a performance in La La Land wowed me as much as this one. She's great.
Her performance in Maniac is incredible.
She's great in Maniac as well.
Yeah. What else? I think the story is incredible. I was expecting the story to be a little more different than what I ended up getting. But in the best way possible. I think you may get a different impression from the trailer that I don't know if you'll fully have when you see the movie. You'll probably expect it to be like a typical revenge. These two fight over each other to become basically the favorite of the queen, which that is the story. But the way that it happens in the movie is different than you probably expect.
Yeah, it's so unconventional.
Yeah, the way it's in the trailer would be she just stumbles in and then everything turns wacky, which that is really what happens. Okay, I'm not without going spoiler territory. It's much different than you probably expect, and it's so unconventional.
I feel like Lanthimos is kind of dogging in like his last 2 films have been dogging in on his Kubrick influence. He's like very obviously the favorite seems like it's hugely inspired by Barry Lyndon.
And it is.
As someone who's seen Barry Lyndon, it is.
What about Sacred Deer? Do you what movie is that similar to?
Sacred Deer.
Honestly, it feels like at times like a ripoff of Possession.
Oh, I thought you meant Kubrick.
Really?
Kubrick, yeah, it's like in both like its style and presentation, it feels very reminiscent. Like the wide scope, like long wide takes, fish scope as well at times. And
okay,
like,
I could see like the Barry Lyndon influence, but I don't really see the Possession influence.
Yeah,
no, I mean I didn't feel like Sacred Deer.
Even I don't really get what you mean. Like, does having like a certain camera style really make your movie all like? Oh, okay,
no,
the movie has
the overall.
takes.
No. Just like the overall, also like tone and atmosphere that it builds, especially with like music. And at times, Possession is very much about the expressions and like delivery of lines, as like a lot like Lanthimos' films are always like, and also a very like pitch black and so intense atmosphere. Basically, like cut a piece of like you could cut a piece of glass simply by like holding up it into the sky. That's how tight it is. It's like it's always just overbearing to the God in a good way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought this movie was okay. Mark, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's good.
It's just that no offense. I mean, you're my boy, and you're like I said, you're a very smart guy, and I love hearing you explain things. But you were kind of going on for a bit long there because I think it's just because I just kind of want to pick up the pace of this just slightly. Okay. It's just okay. So yeah, I thought this movie was incredible. And it's just the cinematography is gorgeous, and the period piece setting really helps everything. The score is beautiful. It's just, oh man, it's so good. I mean, the one thing that probably keeps it from being 10 is this isn't just like a flaw. This is more so just something that can be improved. It's just I don't know if I really understood some aspects of it like just like 100% fully. I need to rewatch in order to think of that. Maybe we'll probably bump to a 10 on rewatch. Who knows? But currently it's a 9, which is the second best rating. It's incredible. Go see it. Great story, great acting. Oozes Lanthimos style, which I love. His dry sense of humor works perfectly here. There's so many funny moments. And also, I just want to mention, I was in the right theater seeing this movie because of the fact how, at least half my audience was laughing at the jokes. And I was like, holy fuck, I am in the right part.
That was actually my theater, too. I'm not going to lie.
I was like, holy fuck, people get it.
That's what I was thinking of my theater, too.
My theater was me. By the way, I saw this with my mother. I don't know if that was a great choice. But we both really enjoyed the movie. But
I saw it with my dad.
I saw The Lobster with my mom.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to see I wanted to see
the toaster scene.
Oh, that was great. She was looking at me like, what the fuck kind of movie are we watching?
By the way, two years ago, I thought about seeing The Lobster with my mom, honestly. I asked my mom to take me to see The Lobster because back then I wanted to get into more art house movies because that was when I first started getting them. Like 2 years ago when I was like 14, and I wanted to see The Lobster with her. I was like, "Can you take me to this small theater like 30 minutes away to go see this movie you haven't heard of?" That would have been an interesting experience if that ended up happening. Like imagine her reaction to the toaster scene.
Help! 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 Help!
That toaster scene is freaking amazing.
Okay, so yeah, it's a fantastic film. There's that.
So here's, can I give my 2 cents? My 2 cents. Favorite fucking shucks. No, I'm joking. It's a great movie. I loved it. Good. So I saw it with my mother.
Pretentious trash. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's pretentious garbage. No,
I'm so kidding.
My theater was completely full of people in their 40s to 60s to some 70s. There was like a lady who was like 60 who was sitting next to us, who was always going like, oh golly. It was really funny. The movie was great. I think because like the film's in like what 8 chapters. Like, is that how many chapters there were in the story?
I think so.
Okay, so here's my thing. I think the first 2 chapters are not very interesting, but
I love all of them.
Like the first 2 chapters are not bad. I just wasn't really all that invested in the story, and that's a completely subjective thing.
And that makes sense. That's fair.
I guess.
Yeah, because just up until that point, I just didn't really feel like there was a ton going on. As soon as the second chapter finishes and the third one starts, I was completely invested, and I loved the film. And I think it's easily one of my favorite movies of the year. I agree. I think Emma Stone is fantastic. Like, this and Maniac, two of the best performances I've ever seen from her. Like, she's incredible in this movie, as well as Olivia Colman and
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz, not Rebecca Hall. Okay, I'm sorry, all right?
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz. What is the Rachel girl? You know who I'm talking about.
The chick who was in Fred Claus the year after she won an Oscar.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, Fred
It's a great
Claus.
movie. Lanthimos is dark.
Kevin Spacey's in that movie too.
Works so well. Yeah, it's just a really, really good movie. I don't have a lot to say. I see the Barry Lyndon influence a lot.
It's fantastic. Wait, okay, Jack. Which movie do you like better, Mr. Barry Lyndon?
Barry Lyndon.
I don't really think like. Okay, I say that I can see the Barry Lyndon influences, but that being said, they are two like different movies. Like Barry Lyndon is more like, I hate to use the word, more of an epic, and it's not even like comedic, not even like remotely as comedic as The Favorite is, and they're two very different movies. Aside from like the setting and like what the people wear, it's like
I agree with Jack. It's like Barry Lyndon is like the war setting, The Favorite is the court setting, like the way I see it. And they're like two very different movies. I don't think it's really fair to compare them. It would be like comparing Lady Bird to The Edge of 17.
Or comparing Downton Abbey to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Or like comparing fucking Sausage Party to VeggieTales.
that just wouldn't work. One of them is a Christian kids show, and the other's a Seth Rogen movie with an orgy scene at the end.
With a hot ass orgy scene, I might add.
Oh God, stop. Okay. Anyways, what would y'all say is your ratings for The Favorite?
10.
Yeah, 10. I can't wait for Mark to see this. Oh my God, Mark, you're gonna.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I hope you like it.
I love my boy Lanthimos.
Yeah, Mark, you like Lanthimos.
Yeah, of course.
Then you'll like.
One of my
question, Mark. I want to ask: have you seen like Dogtooth?
Yeah, obviously that was the first film I watched from Lanthimos.
Oh, okay. I've only seen like the first 10 minutes of it.
Couldn't find.
I've seen. Okay, I have it on Blu-ray. Dogtooth, Alps, The Lobster, Killing the Sacred Deer, and a couple of his short films. And I think what's the one he made that I haven't seen? I think that might be all of them.
No, Alps.
I said Alps. Yeah. I know there's one I'm missing, but it's.
I think there was what he did in 2004. That was to show at a couple festivals.
Wait, was it? Are we talking about movies that? What are you talking about? What was that one? Kidford?
Don't even remember.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway,
I've seen
an 8. I would give it an 8.
I've liked all of them.
Great. I would give The Favorite an 8, but after watching it, I was it was at least an 8, but it could be a 9.
Ooh, nice.
It could be a 9. Not confirming anything. It could be a 9.
I'm a bit worried because my big boy that I always trust with opinions, who loves Lanthimos as much as me, gave it a half, 2.5, and I was like, what the fuck?
Wait, I think I know. Wait, you're talking. Oh, no, right. I was about to say, I think I know what you're talking about. But I remember the person I'm thinking of doesn't like Lanthimos.
Talking about Dylan.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
my friend Tristan French gave it 2 stars.
Well, Tristan, he's my boy. I love him with all my heart, but he definitely doesn't seem to like a lot of.
I mean, he unironically thinks that Boyhood is the greatest movie ever made. So.
Okay, people have their opinions, George.
I know. I was joking.
That's not a good one.
I was joking. Jesus.
I think I've only seen the first 20 minutes of Boyhood.
Okay, can we move on to...
Okay, I love David Robert Mitchell. I love how subversive he is as a filmmaker with his genres and how he plays with them to create a kind of mosh, or I guess a mosh pit of ideas and themes and styles and kind of overall. The best way to describe it Under the Silver Lake is gumbo. It's a mix of different items and flavors and styles and flares and a lot of ideas. It's very dense. And you could say that's a good thing or a bad thing. To me, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing, honestly. I love how just jam-packed the film is with just its overall... It's probably one of the most nihilistic films of the year, that behind First Reformed, in a very Hollywood. Oh, Hollywood, look at this type of way. It's very reminiscent of Mulholland Drive. A lot of Lynch, actually. A lot of Lynch and... what is it? Vertigo?
Yeah, Hitchcock.
Yes,
Vertigo, right?
yeah, that's like I was gonna say. If you don't mind me interrupting, I agree. I think it's like an amazing blend of just so many styles. I want to add, this is like one of my absolute favorite movies of the year, like top 3.
Absolutely.
I think this film is fantastic. Oh god, it's like this incredible blend of so much stuff. It's like got like the dry hangover, like mystery vibe of like The Long Goodbye. It's got like the shot and music composition of Vertigo. It's got like some sort of like back and forth dialogue that gave me like sort of Shane Black Kiss Kiss Bang Bang vibes. I don't know if that was like for some other people, but I kind of got that
I get
sometimes.
those vibes, but I definitely see where it coming from.
Dude, that direction and that score is... Oh my god. Oh my god.
So good. And even just that like... Even, like, the attention to detail, like that, even that one shot of, like, Andrew Garfield, I don't know, I think it was, like, the final shot, or I can't remember. The shot of Andrew Garfield when he was just standing outside of his motel looking over it, and, like, the music is, like, sweeping down, like, oh, it's so Hitchcockian. It's so good. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to add on to that. The attention to detail is phenomenal. There are a lot of little things to pick up on. My favorite thing that I've picked up on so far is, you know how he has, early in the film, we've all seen the film, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so early on in the film, he boasts his first porno that he ever masturbated to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we get a good glimpse on how, it's a girl and she's like bent backwards in the water. And I love how they recreated that when he's in the water with his ex, right, who gets shot. And as she floats down to the bottom of the Silver Lake, they recreated the pose with it, except this time it's blood oozing from her as she watches her descend into the water, and it's like a legit recreation of the page. It's great, and I loved it. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's great. And then there's also the Piano Man scene.
Yes.
The Piano Man scene is one of my favorite things of the year. That's one of my favorite things of the year.
That was a great fucking scene.
I think, okay, I will say, one of my only issues from the film comes from that scene, and it's a complete nitpick. And then I just feel like the makeup of that guy was a little bit distracting, but otherwise it was like a brilliant scene.
I got into it with Dylan over this. I was like, that scene's amazing. He was like, it's amazing, but it's super blatant. And I was like, it's super blatant, but that's what makes it amazing. And we were just going back and forth discussing about it. It was great. Oh my god. He's just like, I created what you rebelled to. I created what your parents rebelled to and what your grandparents rebelled to. And he's just there playing Nirvana on the piano, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm not gonna lie, I lost it as soon as that scene kept on going and going and going. And then how it escalated, and then I was like, what the fuck? That scene is a perfect amalgamation of what Under the Silver Lake is, which is the refusal of the ideas. That it's at the heart of what it wants to say is that it wants to refuse the indulgences and ideas that Hollywood boasts so prevalently, which is definitely the reason, at least what I get from what David Robert Mitchell's was, his intent was to have all the female characters basically just be objects for the main character. That's kind of more or less a statement on how Hollywood sees women as more or less objects. Sex sells. That's always been it. Like, if you want to make the argument that, there is change that should happen. Like, sex has always been something that's innuendo. Sex and innuendo has also always been something that's played to in marketing and in so many things, which is also a point that the film makes. But it kind of brushes it over, and it just says like, oh, it's a paranoid character. Like, he's just doing it as conspiracy for other things. But it also kind of solidifies the point that the film's also trying to make, that Hollywood is it's a BoJack season something. Can't remember, but it's basically the amalgamation of that one sentence that she tells BoJack, where it's like, Hollywood is a very pretty city on the outside, but it's a tar pit. And once you finally realize it is, you sink. Sunk it.
Season
Probably.
3 or season 4?
I think it's season 2 or season 3.
Oh, no, wait. No, yeah, it's season 2, because, that's when, the dear friend, I'm forgetting her name. Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Yeah. And then it goes that whole thing on the second season. Yeah, it's season 2.
That's the perfect amalgamation of what Under the Silver Lake is. And it also, I mean, it's very blatant, obviously, with the Piano Man scene, how it's him trying to refuse the ideas that they try pushing on him. Like, he's like, your whole reality is a lie, motherfucker. Ooh, I created you. I created your rebellion. I created your ego. I created everything. And he's just there banging on the piano, and he tries to kill him. And then he's like, no, and he rejects and kills what I can only, interpret as a literal incarnation of angst, and how media or Hollywood or just people in general market and use that to not really play into angst itself or try and add anything to it, but to play it for money and to cash in on it. And I loved it. I loved Under the Silver Lake. It was so good. The direction and the soundtrack, fucking what's his face was amazing. Andrew Garfield, he was great. He was perfect.
I'm not a big Andrew Garfield fan, but I thought he was perfect in the movie. Best performance I've seen from him.
I love Andrew Garfield. I don't know what yours is.
I don't think he's bad. I'm never just oh man, can't wait for the next Andrew Garfield. Yeah, he's great in Silence.
So,
I just don't really. Yeah, he's good.
I think he has 3 really good roles, and then the rest are just kind of for me. And that's Under the Silver Lake, Social Network, and Silence.
What about Hacksaw Ridge?
I like Hacksaw Ridge.
Let's stop talking about Hacksaw Ridge
You can hate me for that.
I hate you, Jack, but I love you. So
it's not a movie worth forgiving Mel Gibson for.
Eh.
He has to make
what
masterpiece in order. He has to make an actual masterpiece in order to.
Okay.
Okay, I'm never gonna forgive him because he's a fucking piece of shit. Okay, I don't know why he went in this.
Anyways, I completely finished what I was saying about Under the Silver Lake. It's literally so close to being a masterpiece, in my opinion. I love it. It's like Big Lebowski plus Mulholland Drive plus Vertigo.
So I don't really have much to say about it because Mark basically summed up my thoughts on it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great combination of Mulholland Drive and Vertigo. You know, the David Lynch Hitchcock style I think works really great. I kind of described it as if Alfred Hitchcock and David Lynch collaborated to make a movie. I think this is what they would come up with. And I think it really works. Andrew Garfield is great. Riley Keough, who's Elvis's granddaughter, I think.
Oh shit!
Yeah, she is.
Wait, hold the
fucking phone.
Yeah, she's Elvis's granddaughter.
Serious?
Cool.
I'm not kidding.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because she's super talented.
You've got to be. No, there's no way this can be real.
Go look it up. It's.
You're right.
Yeah, it's on her letterboxd.
Oh my god!
Shit.
Anyways,
shit.
All the acting is great. It's very well shot. I love the soundtrack to the movie, and I am considering it a 2019 release because that's when it's supposed to get its theatrical release.
I don't see why you guys consider 2018.
Well, no, I can.
2018 movie.
I can see.
I'm gonna
Jack. I'll fight you.
I can see why people consider it a 2018 movie. I would probably consider it a 2019 movie though, just based on my standards. Anyway, I really loved it. If I were to point out any problems with it, I think some of the pacing is really bad, and the ending I feel like, I mean, at first it didn't really tie together for me, but. It's really more of a nitpick and probably something I'll forgive on rewatch. And I think there are a few technical issues as well. But overall, I really enjoyed Under the Silver Lake. Very solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, honestly, I would be very comfortable giving it a 9 out of 10. Anyways,
and I would too.
For one thing, it's 2019. Okay, that's an argument. Okay. But
it's going to be on both my list. It doesn't matter.
Actually, you know what? Honestly, I don't fucking care about the whole release thing. It's whatever. But take away from that, this film is fucking great. I want to see it. Actually, the first release, I mentioned this millions of times. The first release day of this movie was going to be a day before my birthday, and then they took it from me, and they released it. Then they were going to release it in this month. Then they took it away again, and it's apparently supposed to come out in April, even though it just leaked. So who knows if it's even going to still release in April.
Question: if it doesn't get released in April and like they've changed to that, does that just automatically make it a 2018? Let's continue.
Are you still on about this? My God.
I'm sorry, you brought
You're
that
not
up.
going to convince me.
It's important.
Anyway.
Information.
Okay, so, yeah, I love this movie. I almost gave it a 9. I held back a little bit. I can't remember what my flaws were. I think maybe some scenes go on for too long. I think some of Jack's other smaller flaws I agree with. But I love the mystery of this movie. I love the story of it. It's a movie that definitely makes you think, for sure. Like, I don't even know if I even understand everything about this movie. Like, it's complicated as hell. It's what I need. Like, I love movies like this. Like, I love complicated ass movies. Like, I keep saying, I'm not a normie. I love movies that make you think. And this is what I need. I loved all the theories the movie presented. I love Andrew Garfield in a role he was fucking born to play. Like, this honestly just feels like the definitive role for Andrew Garfield. Like, he's just like he's perfect for this role. And his character is interesting. Also, I don't really get what people are saying, like the whole, it makes you try and like a terrible person. I'm like, he's not even like the worst person. Like, he's a pervert, but only at the beginning. Other than that, he's not like a terrible human being. Like, he's not even like a douchebag, really. He's just like, he spies on girls at the beginning, but other than that, like, he doesn't even do that in the rest of the movie.
He's just a regular incel.
Yeah, he's just a regular incel.
I don't get the criticism why so many people are going like, it's so self-indulgent. This is a 3 out of 10.
It isn't self-indulgent.
That's exactly what what's his face said. Tristan.
Jack, this is what I was getting at.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, I respect his opinion and all, but I don't think
it's.
I personally don't think it's self-indulgent.
It doesn't feel pretentious at all. Unlike Jacksville.
Yeah, House of Jackville is self-indulgent.
Like, I don't even know how you can consider this pretentious, because it's a cohesive story, and it has a lot of
I'm looking.
It has a lot of things.
Follow this, man.
It has a lot of things to it, but nothing that makes. It doesn't feel at any point like David Robert Mitchell is jerking himself off. Like, this movie's not self-indulgent. It's not pretentious. It knows exactly what it is, and it's
definitely like here, instead of where House of Jackville, you could say it's very obvious that he's not, like, it's very obvious to not misinterpret it that he is trying to praise this, like, that he's very much a loser.
And also, I think considering Andrew Garfield's character in this movie a terrible person, it's like considering Travis Bickle a terrible person. Okay, well, that's not a very good comparison.
Yeah.
It's like considered Reverend Toller a terrible person.
I think the best way to describe it is that he's not really a terrible person. He's just one of the biggest losers. Yeah. He's a stoner. He basically just uses girls for sex, and he's late on his rent. That's all you can describe him as.
He's more so. Like, I'm not saying that if you do those things in real life, then you're a good person. I'm just saying, like, with how he's portrayed and how he grows and develops as a character throughout the movie, he's just more so a loser and an incel. So yeah, I love the plot of this movie. It's so intriguing. I had no fucking idea where it was gonna go. In fact, I love movies like that, like unpredictable, like completely unpredictable. I did not see that ending coming.
Me neither, honestly. Me neither.
Like, the particular way it ended, I did not see that coming at all. And that's like the best possible way they could have ended the movie.
Dude, what? I'm not gonna lie, I laughed my fucking ass off when I saw him shove an egg down a little kid's throat. That shit was funny as fuck.
Wait, I can't remember. Was that in this movie?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I forgot.
I don't remember.
Like, they keyed his car, right? Like, these little kids, they're going around the block and they're like pissing on cars and like egging him and keying him, and they key like a dick in his car, and so he like runs around to go find him.
Oh, great.
And he just goes up and he punches the shit out of the little kid.
That fucking scene where he just beats the shit out of those kids who graffitied his car. That scene's so great. I fucking love it. I love that scene. And also the directing, cinematography is amazing. I just love movies like this. And also, I know I haven't seen any Hitchcock movies. Attack me. But I can still see where the Hitchcock influence comes from, because a lot of like old, 50s type music is used in this movie as the score, and it's such like it fits along well, and it gives you such an old Hollywood feeling that I love.
However, what I would like to add is that Zasterpiece, who also worked on David Robert Mitchell's last film, It Follows, he did add his own little twist to the big orchestral throwback classic film vibe, especially like most obviously in one of the pool scenes where like she comes out and she starts like barking, and there's like hints of like the techno 8-bit that he did in It Follows, like breaking in and distorting like the big old drums that you hear on like a classic movie, like Hollywood movie. It's great. I don't know. I just pick up on these like with the music especially. It feels so well defined and well created and well rounded. And there's like just little hints of like digital like enhancement and like re-editing and almost like a chop and screwed version, like where Moonlight basically it had a very classic violin score, and then for like revisions of the score later on in the film, it would like chop and screw the audio, which is basically slowing it down, taking chunks out in a completely different way. And I thought it did this fantastically well, and I really, really love Under the Silver Lake.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. Like, I honestly don't know how someone could hate this movie. Some people I feel like it's like 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. Like, I just don't get that.
I don't get like the hate for it.
People have their opinions. I respect opinions, but I just don't get the backlash. I really don't, honestly.
The fact that like people are giving this like 3 out of 10s and like not some of the other garbage on the like the A24 has made. Like people are still giving like 4 stars to like the Bling Ring. Like if you think the Bling Ring is better than this, like
Sophia Coppola. They love Sophia Coppola.
Breaking news: people have their opinions.
But Bling Ring is just total garbage. I'm not even gonna hide it. Like that movie is total garbage. I love Sophia Coppola, but I'm not that big on Sophia Coppola. I think Sophia Coppola is overrated.
God, you're just sexist.
Yeah, I'm just sexist.
You sexist prick.
I'm one of the few people that really, really enjoyed The Beguiled, and like Lost in Translation is good.
It's one of my favorite movies of all
time.
And Virgin Suicides is alright, I guess.
Bling
Ring is total garbage, and like I haven't seen the rest of the stuff she's done.
What about Somewhere?
I guess.
We're all really tired.
Okay.
Anyway, Under the Silver Lake is a fantastic movie, and I love the Hitchcockian influence so much. It's perfect. It so perfectly captures that vibe, and shot composition and the music. It's so good, and the fact that it's like I hate to bring it up, but the fact that it's like not even like that's got like 56 on Rotten Tomatoes is ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, this is one of the best films of the year. This is fantastic. I love it. This is a fantastic movie. 9 out of 10. It's near perfect. Maybe nearly perfect.
Ratings from everybody?
9 out of 10.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit distracted. I was looking at some
8 out of 10? 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Hell yes.